Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 FM. I'm Paul Kretschmer. This is the second of 2 days of conversation with Isaac Thangjom, who grew up in India but eventually moved to Israel, being Jewish. He is now in an organization which is bringing Jewish Indian members to Israel but need assistance during the lockdown in India before they can take their final journey back to the land of Abraham.
We don't know how long we're going to be in this situation in Israel in which we are without a government. And secondly, how long is this COVID-19 going to last? We don't know. We have no idea at all. And the thing is that here, what we are worried about is what the present situation the people are facing in India right now. Luckily here in Israel, we don't have that. Okay, people are unemployed, 25% unemployment rate, but nobody's starving. But then the situation is very dire in India, where every day, every second, every hour counts. So now, say for example, we since the last couple of weeks, we're able to give them supplies which will probably last them maybe, if you're lucky, about 2 weeks to maybe even 20 days. We're hoping. And then we're starting the second phase of aid, in which we're already requesting for donations. And I'm hoping this will come within the next this week, and till the next week I'll be able to dispatch the donations. And then I'm hoping that this will cover the families. We're reaching out to about 600 families right now, and so I'm hoping that this will be able to cover them till the second date that has been given as a date of easing the lockdown, which is the 17th. I'm hoping that it'll last. But then again, even if the lockdown is eased on the 17th, people are not going to find jobs immediately, and this is my prime concern right now. And the thing is that they're going to need at least a few more weeks, maybe a month of what I'd call it the recovery period, in which they're able to get back to their normal routine and find a job. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is what we're trying to cover that recovery period as well.
So for you and for the people on the ground in that part of the world, then it's kind of nerve-wracking having at the moment what seems like an almost open-ended situation that kind of diminishes hope, because you don't have a date certain to be able to say on this date things will change and the circumstances will be different and the people will be able to pull themselves back up again when they can get out of their immediate home quarantine situation.
Paul, India is essentially it still remains a third world country.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the thing is that economies are not as strong as the United States, Europe, or not even Israel. So out here, the people are going to need some time to be able to pick themselves up. And the government also, it will not have too much resources to be able to give out to give handouts to people who have been really affected. So it's our job to be able to make sure that these people don't fall into how would I say it, despair, so to speak.
Yes, I would like if you could please give listeners for a few minutes a description of, in further detail, for the organization that you represent and how it was initially launched and how long ago that was.
We had been working with the Jewish Federation of New Mexico. A friend of mine, there's a writer called Hillel Halkin. He's an American, but he did his Aliyah about almost 50 years ago in the early 70s. Mm-hmm. So he's been a very old friend, and we'd worked on a book called Across the Sabbath River, which deals with the B'nai Menashe community back in 1990, starting in 1998, and it was turned into a book in 2002. And so in the period following to that, I came to Israel in 2008, and we got in touch again. And we had this old friend called Sabra Minkas she's currently the president of the Jewish Federation of New Mexico. She had come to Manipur in India in 2004. She and another friend called Sam Pfeffer that donated a kosher Torah for the community. So when I came back in 2000, I got in touch with both of them again. And we corresponded, and Hillel lives here in Israel. And Sabra, from time to time, she visits Israel, during, like, say, usually during Sukkot, autumn,
Yes.
So one day we're just talking over, in one of her visits, we're just talking over dinner, and Hillel and I, she told us that she has a certain fund, for the B'nai Menashe, the community, and she's wondering what would it be best used for. So Hillel and I, we'd been dreaming about this dream that we wanted to do an oral history project, and so like we asked her and she agreed, and 3 years starting from like say 2007 till now. We have collected about more than 150 stories, almost 200 stories from the personal testimonies from old people and young people, but mostly old people. So we realized that if we don't do this now, and each time an old person dies, he takes with him a wealth of information which we'll never ever be able to retrieve ever again.
Yes.
So acting on that, we started with that, and then last year. In early 2019, Hillel and I, we came on an idea, since the oral history project was coming to an end. And then we decided that, maybe since we have this good connection and goodwill of the Jewish Federation of New Mexico, why don't we continue to something which will benefit the community as a whole, some kind of a program which will advance the community educationally, professionally, everything, just about everything, and to help integrate the community better into the Israeli society.
Sure.
So we came out with this idea that we'll launch this organization which will assist the community, to better integrate into Israel, like I said before. So we came out with this idea, Degel Menashe, and we were invited by the Jewish Federation last year to Albuquerque. So Hillel and I and my wife and my daughter, we went there, and we met with the board members and the community members over there. And they decided that, yes, we think it's a good idea, and it'd be good idea to partner with the B'nai Menashe to help them, integrate better into the Israeli society. So last year in November, we finally had this organization registered under Israeli law, and all these things were happening without us ever realizing that this COVID-19 thing is going to be a big issue.
Yeah.
So by early January, we were all set. And then a month later, we started hearing news about this COVID. I actually didn't pay much attention to it. I thought it probably SARS or MERS or something like that.
Yeah.
It'll dissipate after a few months, But then it took a more menacing dimension, so to speak, And then here we are. And here in addition to what we are doing, distributing scholarships and helping out the community to pursue their dreams and whatever. Now we are focusing on to thing which needs much more immediate attention, which is a relief program for the people who are still back in India and are facing imminent starvation. I request your listeners to please go to our website and see for yourself the kind of work that we're doing.
Thank you very much for your graciousness in making yourself available in what amounts to the middle of the night in the Middle East to speak to us. And for me, it seems that it speaks to your heart that you're willing to go to quite an extent to follow your convictions and to participate as you feel led by God. Thank you very much, Isaac.
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you very much.
Once again, my guest has been Isaac Thangjom, a member of an organization in Israel seeking to help Indian Jews to return to the land of promise. For further information, call us at 860-346-1049. That's 860-346-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Paul Kretschmer on the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from WIHS, Middletown.